Welcome to Botches Off-Road. You know, it's been a wrap, but I've done so much over the last week that it feels like it's been weeks since we talked.
I'm glad you're doing enough for both of us, because I haven't been doing much with this wildfire smoke out there. That shit bothers my lungs too much.
Part of it might be the fact that I've been, like, in the hospital for the past day and a half.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't. Kaylin was, but, you know, obviously I got to be there for her.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't think that wildfire smoke was going to mess with me much since, you know, I vape, I've smoked. I sit by campfires and get smoked out because the smoke always follows me on our camping trips. And
I mean, we were like slated to almost be smoking like 50 times the normal amount of cigarettes.
Well, and yeah, usually my asthma doesn't really bother me, but I went out there and after a little while, my asthma started bothering me, and I was like, wow, this is the first time, and I don't have an inhaler anymore. But it was like the first time that I started having trouble breathing, and I was like, well, not taking the kid to go play at a park, because he doesn't have an inhaler either, and I don't know if he's got my issues, but we're not going to test it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't have your issues, because that would suck.
Yeah. He hasn't really shown any, but he does have my allergies, and my reaction to weird bug bites. We both swell up like balloons when you get bit by any bug, so.
You said weird bug bites, so I'm like, is it just like onesie twosies? But no, it's everything. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
speaking of, how's your hand, Alex?
It's fine. It's not all red and inflamed anymore.
Yeah, when Jasper gets bit by like a mosquito, he gets like dimed a nickel-sized red spot just from a mosquito bite.
God.
And it swells like a big-ass bump. Me too, but it's he doesn't even notice it's there, and we don't notice he gets bit until the next day he wakes up. And his whole body's just covered in like bite, like dimed and nickel-sized marks. It's like, holy shit, kid.
That's how my little sister was when we were growing up. She'd go out and, you know, we'd be playing out all day, and then the next day she'd have like an extra layer of skin where all the bug bites on her legs were.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd have to they put her on steroids a couple times for how bad the bites were.
Yeah, he hasn't been that bad. And thankfully it doesn't bother him really. To me, I see it and I want to itch, but it doesn't bother him, so. But yeah, we did that. We did go outside to try to clean out the pool because he pooped in our pool on accident, so. Yeah.
You got a Code Brown?
Code Brown. We put him in, because we didn't have any swimming diapers, we put him in just regular, like underwear, and he was not staying with the game. He knew the deal. He did not play the game right. So, yeah, we did that. I took my tent out, and I got that all. I wanted to see if it was. I've had it sitting on my truck for weeks now. I did that on purpose. It was kind of a do or die test. But for my last camping trip, I wanted to see how waterproof the bag was and if like mold and stuff would start to grow. And I zipped it open a week ago just to make sure that mold wasn't growing, because if so, I'd obviously want to take it down and stop that as soon as possible. And I didn't smell or see anything. And so I took it out yesterday, this weekend, and put it all up. And there was a very small amount of mold, and it was just on the screen, probably because I put it away wet, but it just wiped right off with a cloth. So that was really good. Seems like that bag is pretty weatherproof and kept most of that stuff out. I set it up completely, got my leaf blower, blew all the sand out of it, and then got my little Swiffer mop and mopped the inside tub floor. Just kind of got all the dirt and mud that might have been caked on it and cleaned that all up and got it all cleaned up and ready for the next camping trip. And so we're good to go now. Hopefully.
When is your...
Yeah.
I said, when is your next trip?
So we were going to be doing kids camp this weekend.
I saw that's canceled.
Yeah. Well, so Zach was organizing. Derek couldn't go. Other Derek couldn't go. They both have like 2 to 4 kids each. Joe couldn't go. He's got like 4 kids now. So that kind of left me, Nolan, Zach, and a few others that weren't sure if they were going to be there. Well, we checked the going list this morning, and we were chatting about it, and there was only like 3 people going, and that was me, Zach, and Nolan. And I was a maybe leaning towards no.
Mhm.
And so he was like, okay, well, I'm just going to cancel it then, because Zach actually got called into work, so he was telling Nolan to take over, and I was like, okay, that's 2 people. That's not even kids camp. That's just like a camp weekend with friends. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we ended up canceling it, and then Husk got a hold of me and wanted to know if I wanted to go camping around here. There was like an area like 40 minutes away. He wanted to see if I wanted to come out and camp, and might take him up on that, might not. I don't know. Time will tell how I feel. See, I just got to work all weekend anyway, so it'd just be me and the kid all weekend.
Yeah, I don't have. I mean, I wasn't invited, but I have no time to go camping this weekend. This weekend is
No.
packed.
Well, I should
Mhm.
stay home and do stuff and not waste the money, so that's probably what I'll do. I got to mow the lawn once or twice. A tree fell during the last windstorm in our backyard, about 20 feet from our house, so that was nice that it didn't fall on our house.
Yeah,
It fell
for sure.
alongside of it, and there's just a 20-foot tree about 20 feet out, and so gotta cut that up and clean that out of the yard, and I gotta check my oil, air filters.
Stack all that nice firewood in a way that it dries out for camping.
Yep. Gotta check my oil, my air filter, do all that. Hopefully I get my oil change this weekend, and I can do that this weekend too. So just kind of need to clean up the truck, get everything prepped, and hopefully be ready for. I think the next time we're gonna go camping is in the next month or the month after. It's not really.
Yeah.
It's pretty slow this year, man. It's not as much as I was hoping.
It's expensive, and that's about it. It's pretty much expensive.
Yeah, it's just expensive.
We need to get. We need to buy Mark some WD-40 for his chair.
I heard it creaking a little bit. I think mine creaks too.
Dude.
No.
I'm not going to lie. The last episode, I had to send it through AI to clean up all. And everything was fine, except for you could constantly hear Mark in the background. Screech, 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 screech.
That was his comfort.
I'm so glad.
Comfort rocking.
I'm so glad I got a new chair that doesn't do that, because that was ridiculous. Yeah, no, we had a pretty good weekend this last weekend. Our buddy John had some family stuff happen, and he needed an excuse to get away. So we went down to Mark's uncle's, which was already pre-planned, but John came. And started working on a Oldsmobile 88 parts car and an Oldsmobile 98 that he's restoring. They're both 61s. Absolutely beautiful cars. The parts car was very, very rotted. Like,
yes,
it looked like it had lived in Michigan its whole life, and it's funny because it's been off the road since 1975, and this thing is just roached. Yeah. So we got, how many doors we end up getting off? 3 out of 4.
We got all 4 off.
So all 4 doors are off. We got the hood off. The engine and trans was already gone. We got both front hubs off it because he needs those for the Oldsmobile 98. We tried to remove the dash, but I guess it's not removable. And we got the trunk off. So the whole joke the whole day was that Jimmy Hoffa was hidden in the trunk. Like, you know, he'd been killed and hidden in the trunk of the car. I don't even know who Jimmy Hoffa is. Does anyone know who this Jimmy Hoffa guy is?
Isn't he a bank robber?
Nope.
That stole a bunch of money?
an American labor leader that disappeared July 30th, 1975, which ironically does line up with when this car's been off the road. So I now understand why this was the joke. He was a union leader for the International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
Gotcha.
And he was alleged to have ties to organized crime. All right. So, yeah, we did not find Jimmy Hoffa in the trunk of the car. We found... I had to cut the trunk open because the key was gone. So I drilled out the keyhole, and the keyhole just went thunk inside the car but never released the trunk. So then I had to cut it open, and we found like a spare tire, a jack, which I don't know if you've ever seen jacks on old cars. They're like modified high lift jacks. Like, them things had to be dangerous as shit. But they're really cool. And then, yeah, there was like a piece of canvas that was all rotten away, but there were no bones, so no Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh.
And I got bit by some bug at some point, and my whole hand swelled up like a balloon.
Yeah.
But it went away like 3 hours later. Yeah, so that was pretty much our day Saturday, until me and John were on our way home at like 5 o'clock at night. And I know I've never talked about it in the podcast, but me and my friend John, we are starting a hot shot business. So we got our LLC like 3 months ago, got our bank account, all that stuff. And we've just been looking for the right truck, right? Well, on our way home, he stumbles upon this 96 F350 dually, and we specifically want a 90s truck because they're cheaper for maintenance. There's other reasons, but for the most part, it gets us out of a lot of otherwise required DOT stuff. But we found this 96 F350, and from the pictures, this thing looked beautiful. So it's out in Detroit. And I'm like, dude, do we just they wanted $6,500, which is like 10 grand cheaper than what anyone else was asking for one of these things. I'm like, dude, do we just go? Like right now, we're almost home, but do we just turn around and go? So he's messaging the guy, and we had to stop and get Kaylin some rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club. And we get out to the truck, and the guy's like, well, I have someone who will be here in about an hour and a half. And I'm like, all right, we're leaving right now. So we just, out of the blue, drive all the way across the state to Detroit. And we get there. They must have used old pictures of the truck because it wasn't near as nice as what the pictures looked like. But it was definitely worth the $6,500. It's got one bad wheel bearing. Sounds like the flex plate's a little weak. But other than that, everything on this truck is absolutely perfect. It runs perfect. It drives perfect. All the normal OBS problems have been solved, except for the flex plate, because that's pretty normal. But so it's really nice. So we ended up getting that for $6,000. The people we bought it from are really cool. It's a brother and a son. They run a hot shop business. The son does tech work for prototype cars. So like when a company makes a car, he gets to tear it apart and make sure all the software is solid and can't be hacked. It was really cool sitting and talking to him for a while. So we got to go pick that up this Saturday, which means another 3-hour drive across the state. But
yeah,
then I got a whole nother diesel to work on.
I was to say, I didn't see any pictures of it. Bummer.
I think I sent the link, didn't I?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, at the very least, I can send the link. But yeah, now we just got to find a trailer. It's kind of hard to start a business with no money, but
right.
It just takes more time.
Oh, I was gonna say earlier, I was thinking of DB Cooper. If you guys know who DB Cooper was.
Yeah, the guy that jacked money from a plane and mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah, he hijacked Northwest Orient Airlines, and he had a bomb, or said he had a bomb, demanded $200,000 in ransom, which is the equivalent to $1.6 million today, and 4 parachutes, and then released the passengers, and then just eventually disappeared, and no one's been able to find him or the money since. So that was that's who I thought you were talking about at first.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I sent you the link. The only thing that's really different is on the driver's side there. They cracked the fiberglass fender.
Of course.
So I've got to find a new dually fender. Pain in my butt.
I mean, that's pretty clean looking.
It's not bad. It's got a little bit of rust in that front fender, so eventually I'll look for fenders for it. You know, if we're running a business out of this truck, we got to make it look presentable. And it's got the body kit, but I'm gonna end up taking the body kit off because it's missing the driver's side there.
What do you mean body kit?
So it's got a fiberglass body kit that goes around the bottom of the truck.
Oh, like the step?
It's got the steps. Everything? Yeah, that's all part of the body kit. You can't stand on those.
No,
they are fiberglass. They're weak. And it's one of my favorite body kits that anyone did on a Ford, but with it missing pieces of it, I can't just leave it on there.
Do those make that more aerodynamic? Bringing it closer to the ground?
Not really. There is a kit Ford did called the Aero kit, which is really rare, and that does make a difference with aerodynamics, but it's really, really ugly.
I don't doubt that. Usually they are.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a good truck for what we're going to be using it for. It definitely needs some help before we start driving it cross country. I mean, it just got back from a trip to Colorado 2 weeks ago. So it's currently in use for this task. So we know it can do it, but I'd rather go through it and make sure everything's right before we start doing long trips, you know?
Yeah. Hot shot sounds fun, but I also don't want the DOT stuff, so.
Yeah, the DOT stuff's pretty daunting. Getting an OBS truck gets you out of a lot of it, and makes it easier to kind of snuff by, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's right, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know nothing.
The only way to make money in Hot Shot anymore is to live in a gray zone where the DOT doesn't perfectly lay out what you need to do. They've really neutered Hot Shot is what it is.
Pretty sure my grandpa got in trouble for hot shotting because he was labeled as farm. So he was transporting over the bridge a bunch of times, equipment for John Deere and hay and this and that. And pretty sure he ended up getting busted for hot shotting because that's technically what he was doing. He wasn't he wasn't doing that for the farm. So he ended up having to get like this is not a business or whatever sticker, and I still think he ended up getting in trouble for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He was an outlaw.
Yeah, there's definitely, for a long time you could do that. Not on a farm tag by any means, but a private tag.
Nice.
But they definitely cracked down on that, which made it a lot harder to make Hot Shot, worth it. Because a lot of guys were doing Hot Shot in their spare time, right? They've got a truck. Why not haul for somebody?
Yeah. Is that the Aero kit you were talking about?
Yeah.
It's ugly, but it's not as ugly as I was thinking. It's not that bad.
I think they're really ugly, but they're ugly in like a cool way.
I feel like if they lowered that to make it more aerodynamic, like on bags, it would look sick.
Okay, not gonna lie, I could never condone an OBS truck getting lowered, but that would be like the one time it's allowed is if it's got an aero body kit on
Aero
it,
body
that would look pretty cool
on bags, so that it would just be more aerodynamic, and still be able to tow a load still. But like that would be sick. I love seeing like bag semis too. Those things are sick.
Like this one I'm going to send you. This one is lowered just a little bit, but not a lot.
Oh, yeah. So I had an 85 GMC 1-ton dually that was very similar without, obviously didn't have an aero kit, but it was lowered just like that. All matte black. Oh, first car, first love. I wish I still had it.
But yeah, the aero kit, I mean, I think it's ugly, but I also think it's really cool. Like, it's hard for me to explain.
Yeah. Oh, it's some vehicles and kits and some things are just so ugly that they're cool. So odd that they kind of appeal to you after a while looking at it. It's kind of like how the FJ was for me when I first saw it. I was like, God, that looks like a giant beetle, like an insect. Looks like a little insect or something. But after a while, I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, this thing's so ugly. It's cool.
Now that you say that, that is the only way I'm ever going to see an FJ now is as a giant beetle.
Yeah, it looks like like a dung beetle or one of those rhino beetles without the horns. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, then yesterday, Kaitlyn had her surgery. So that went well. It just was a long day in the hospital. I actually ran into a guy that worked for the plant that buys our turkeys and processes them. And while we were waiting for our wives' surgeries to be done, we talked for like 2 hours about how crappy our industry is.
Yeah, it's always fun. Find someone else who can you can bitch about your job with.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It's like, and he's like the other side of it, right? Because he gets to see, he doesn't see the live turkeys so much as the dead ones. Whereas I mostly see the live ones, so it was fun.
Mostly.
And when I told him what farm I worked at, he was like, "Oh yeah, your guys' birds are always beautiful." He's like, "We always know when your birds are coming in because they come in alive." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That's also not that great, too, if other people's birds are not coming in alive.
It's not.
That's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But shit happens in transport, man. I've been getting back into The Deadliest Catch, the TV show, and watching how they stuff those crabs into those holding tanks. And I mean, stuff them motherfuckers. And then the one captain had a bunch die. So there's like this fucking like 4-foot layer of just dead crab. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh God.
That's our, human mass fishing, mass producing food market. Like that shit's just bound to happen. It's gross, man. Makes you think a little bit about the food you're getting and how it was processed, where it's coming from. Nasty.
I'll tell you, it really sucks when you walk in a barn and the turkeys have piled and there's just like, 1,000 dead turkeys piled up on a wall. Like, that shit's disgusting.
Oh yeah, I've had a smaller version of that when one of our water tanks died when I was working at a farm store. And you had all of the birds piled up into one corner dead. It was like 300 or 400 of them. And disgusting.
It's disgusting.
It sucks to see too, because, we're not built to see things, dead like that.
And you're not profiting off it.
No, it's all loss.
When I see turkeys piled up like that, I just see loss. I don't, it doesn't faze me otherwise. It's just like, fuck.
No, you get used to it.
That's a lot of money.
But it's funny because, like, for us, at that certain farm store, we actually have to pay for people to dispose of our turkeys, chickens, flock, any of that, because it's a biohazard risk to put into like garbage or whatever. For what is it?
Yeah, we have to pay. We have to pay big money to dispose of dead turkeys.
So, yeah, we lose not only the price of the chicken, but then we have to actually pay. We have to throw them all in freezers, and then we have to wait for that person to come. They have to pick it up, and then we have to pay them for it. So that sucks.
Yeah.
People don't ever think or see of that side of things.
Yeah, when a farm gets, like, let's say a farm gets AI, you're looking at like 3 months of just letting birds compost in a barn because you can't get rid of that many birds at one time. No. So you got to let them compost in a barn, and then it's another 3 months before you can start having birds in there once you clean them out.
Yep.
Like it's bad, dude. But on a cheery note, most turkeys that start living live all the way to processing.
They had a life. I can't say it was a good one, but they had one at least.
Well, that's the thing. That's all a turkey really wants. A turkey doesn't, they're just looking for food, water, maybe a little bit of playtime, and they're good and ready to go. They're a pretty simple bird.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say most of those in that category of poultry are, I'd feel bad if we were like processing parrots or something, but like,
dude, but
no,
turkey,
please, no.
There are times I feel bad because I'll end up with flocks that are like, they got personality.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but I also, what am I going to do with 9,000 turkeys that have personality? I can't just keep them around.
Yeah, I had 240 chickens that were laying eggs, and I raised them all from chicks. And we got to a point to where we were getting 280 or 240 eggs a day. So we were filling up a full-size like kitchen refrigerator in a day with eggs. We were feeding it back to them. We couldn't get rid of them. So eventually we cut our losses because no one was buying enough eggs, and we started selling the chickens. Well, every one of those that had just about had a name, and every one I knew personally had a little personality of its own. And I was like, damn, this does kind of suck. Now I know how these 4-H kids feel, but they probably feel a lot.
Yeah, dude.
Now they probably feel a lot better because they're selling their chickens for like fucking $1,000 a piece rather than,
Oh no, that shit sucks. The money, yeah, it's nice, but you don't make back what you spent on
No,
the
you
animal.
don't.
And it sucks selling a 4-H animal, but it definitely builds you to be a stronger farmer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, for sure.
I've sold like 50, 60 chickens in my 4-H life, 2 or 3 pigs, a couple sheep. Sold lots of animals at 4-H auctions, and everyone killed me.
If you already have a farm, it is a little better on you money-wise because it's usually going to other things like other pigs and other cows. So the money thing doesn't hurt you as much, and especially when you're a kid. Like my grandparents, when I did the 4-H, I got to keep the money. They already had the feed and stuff for all the other animals.
Yeah.
So like it didn't really bother them. They didn't really notice it. So, and they were teaching me something. I grew up a city kid, so it taught me a lot about taking care of animals and a lot of things that I didn't know about the upkeep of farm animals and stuff. So it's also a really good learning experience too.
It is, for sure. Yeah, I grew up a farm kid, but it was a 4-H farm. So every animal, like 4-H week, we transported our entire farm to fair.
Yeah, so you definitely understood that as far as like profit and loss goes, because it was all going into those animals.
Not all of them got, we didn't sell all of them. Like my showmanship chicken, I had him for like 10 years. And then he went to a kid from our 4-H when I went in the Army, and he lived another 5 years. Oldest freaking chicken I've ever met.
Yeah, we had one named Penny that lived forever.
But all right, guys, so now we talked about farming. Do we want to call it and go on to our very fun next topic?
Sure.
Yep.
We'll talk to you guys later.